Hi, AGP students. Welcome to our Leadership Development course. This is our first presentation that goes before our lesson number 1. And this presentation is over kind of the introduction of the course and expectations, and also briefly touching on self-awareness and things. So as with any course that you should take, or hopefully with any course that you should take, there should be objectives, items in which you are expected to learn and walk away with, and have um, further development in these areas. The first one is developing a greater awareness of yourself in regards to your strengths and your talents, things in which you do well, you don't do well, and respect with those. Also your academics, understanding that, not just your interests, but your study habits as well, and how you learn as an individual. Additionally, your extracurricular activities in which you participate with, and also what other things that you may choose to join after taking this course to further develop those interests, and just as well as your career and your major interests. So the idea is that with this sort of information that you're sort of whittling down on the things which you may want to eventually pursue in college and eventually as a career, and whether that's affirming something that you do enjoy or eliminating something that you thought you may have enjoyed and discovered that you don't. Also, this course is to kind of better understand your high school experience, the things in which you're doing in regards to your classwork and your extracurricular activities, and how this really well applies to your interest, and knowing that these things have a purpose and what you're getting out of these and how this applies to your college preparation. Also, it's important to understand and to maximize the use of your resources to further benefit your high school experience. So with that is recognizing the resources that you may have available to yourself at this very moment, how to utilize those where you're being more effective with those, but also understanding additionally what lies out there that could be of use for you and help further your development as a college student even further. And then lastly, with this course, something that we see very important is to kind of develop and refine the skills for you to effectively lead peer groups. And in the end of this course, we will be doing a lot of work and exercises dedicated to that, working through scenarios and exercises, and giving you the opportunity within a small group environment to work and develop those skills, and it should be a lot of fun. So one of the things that you'll hear me speak to quite a bit is what I like to call is your sphere of influence. And I think in this course is how we sort of progress through this. I like to say that we start off with the start of the course where you're learning about oneself, so you're understanding who you are as a person. We're equipping you with information in regards to Strengths Quest and giving you some insight into things that you do well. And learning how to recognize those things within the everyday environment. So within respect to your academics, your extracurriculars, and just as well as the things that you happen to participate in on a daily basis. From there, we'll work on managing and maximizing oneself. So now that you're equipped with this information of yourself and you've been armed with it, what do you do with that? And how do you take more ownership of your own personal development? From there, we continue to work on outside of that and learning about the talents of others, being able to identify those through the things in which they say and their behaviors and their actions of things, and recognizing for what those strengths may be. And then lastly is managing and maximizing that talent of the other people. So now that you know what they can do, what Johnny and Jane and Joe can do, it's like, how do you formulate a team? And by assigning tasks and responsibilities that will suit everyone quite well and will breed success. So the outline of the course, as I just mentioned, will kind of progress in that manner. of the sphere of influence, where we're learning about oneself, which lesson number 1 is about self-awareness and strengths intro. So we'll dedicate strictly to you and learning about you in that respect. Lesson 2 is learning how to infuse your strengths into your academics and your career, working on with the use of your strengths and how does that apply to these individual areas. Lesson 3 is infusing your strengths into extracurricular activities. So the things that you do well is how do they apply to your extracurricular activities, or what more can you potentially be doing to further sharpen those skills that you have with your strengths. Next, we move on to managing and maximizing your oneself, and lesson number 4 is building intentional relationships. So that's mentorships. It's understanding and recognizing who around you can further your development and how to engage those individuals and utilize them for your benefit. Lesson 5 is personal leadership styles. So it's being able to understand the way in which you most effectively lead others, but also understanding how to recognize the dynamics within a group and utilizing various leadership styles that will meet your individual needs and bridge those sort of gaps. Continuing on, moving on, so we kind of moved on from oneself, and now we're moving on to the talent of others. Lesson 6 is group dynamics and the fundamentals, so understanding the behaviors and the attitudes within the groups, and kind of carefully navigating that and knowing how to sort of recognize the different personalities that exist within a group. Lesson 7 is going to be recognizing strengths and skills of others. So this is where we really start implementing the use of strengths and understanding the behaviors and actions and the things in which people say, and doing that and saying, oh, this behavior is this strength and such. So being able to recognize that and practicing it. And then the last phase is managing, maximizing talent of others. So lesson number 8 is effective group communication. So we'll discuss various styles and how to communicate and reach the needs of your group. Lesson 9 will be managing and diffusing conflict. So I always feel like this is a very good lesson, something especially young people are often very uncomfortable in trying to deal with. And even for adults, it's not easy addressing conflict, but also recognizing the benefits of conflict, but managing it to where it can be productive, which I know that sounds counterintuitive to one another and things, but you can be productive with conflict. And then lastly is going to be our peer leadership scenarios. So this is where everything in which you've learned is coming into place here. We're working through a couple of different scenarios and utilizing all the different information in which you've learned through this course, and how do you actually put this together and operate as a leader and things. So there'll be scenarios such as you're the vice president of a student organization. You got these things that are going on, these issues are going on, how do you address it? And so that class tends to be a lot of fun. We try to replicate things that you may encounter within your high school experience, and because of that, being able to have some exposure to it and act confidently when you're eventually put into these situations, and know how to respond in a way that your peers will see you as a leader and work with you in that respect. So just some expectations that we have for this course. One is come prepared. It is crucially important that you come having done the work that's been assigned and ready to talk and things. This course is heavily dependent upon that, and it makes the class a lot more productive, a lot more fun, when everyone is involved and engaged and participating in things. So it definitely helps in doing that. And in response to that, I will always do my best to give the work far enough in advance to give you adequate amount of time to prepare. Come be actively engaged in things. So, this course is built off your participation, and it's not meant to be where I'm just lecturing within the classroom. This is what these videos are for, so that you can receive the information that you needed. But the classroom component is really meant to be a very group-oriented, dynamic environment for the participants there. We do encourage open discussion, so this class is a discussion-based course, and it's something in which is heavily reliant upon your participation there, and as I mentioned, will increase, I think, how much fun the course can be for those who are participating in it. Again, ask questions. I feel like this is always it's good to sort of to think about and compare, and if there's something in which you don't understand, to ask questions of it, or you maybe not even agree with something, which is perfectly fine, and because of that, ask questions and have those be answered for yourself. Also, to remain open-minded. So there's a lot of things in which I will be asking of you to try and to do, as well as others and things. And again, the participation is very important to this, because without that, it doesn't necessarily kind of dampens the environment a little bit. So remain open-minded to trying new things, to trying to work on certain elements of your personality, or traits and strengths and things that you feel like that need to be addressed in some manner. Also is respect for others. So as I mentioned, this is a discussion-based course, and you're encouraged to share your thoughts and your opinions, your ideas on things, and because of that, you may not always agree with what other people say, and they may not always agree with things in which you say, which is perfectly fine. That's expected. And actually, I encourage that, is that there is a healthy amount of discussion and debate that takes place in class, but things are always done in a very respectful manner. So the course and the way in which it's set up is, before class we'll have videos such as this one that you'll be asked to watch, and always have the link time, and I try to keep those videos about 20 or so minutes, give or take a little bit. And as I understand, I am kind of verbose and try to work on being condensed in that manner. There may be additional prep work, so maybe a short assignment or some things in which you're given to ponder and to think about, and to come prepared to discuss in class. But the idea is that I'm keeping this roughly about 30 minutes of work before class, and not trying to put too much on your shoulders. In class, as I mentioned, there will be individual exercises in which we'll do, to reinforce certain concepts. Also, it's a discussion-based course, as I mentioned, so discussion and talking and sharing thoughts and ideas is very much encouraged, and it's something that I will work on. And if I see that you're not necessarily comfortable in sharing things, I will work on gradually introducing you and trying to pull those things out in a very in a method, in a way that helps you feel more confident about your abilities. There'll be group activities and scenarios, so things in which we'll do together as a group, or within teams and things. There'll also be scenarios, as I mentioned before, about situations that you may encounter that may take place in your high school, and to work on and to utilize those. And then there'll be some reflection work, so things after the class that you'll be asked to do, to kind of reflect and reinforce the concepts that were discussed for that day. And usually that'll be about 30 minutes worth of work. So you can anticipate for every class there'll be about an hour's worth of work between before and after. I do utilize a flipped classroom model, which this is part of it. So there'd be lecture and homework elements of the course are reversed. So usually you go to class and you hear the lecture from a teacher and then you do the homework. Well, it's different here is that you are receiving the lecture portion before class and that you're coming to the class to actually do the work. Our time is precious, in which we have together, and this allows us to actually to do the fun things. And a part of the class, and that the lecture component that you can watch on your own time. That's why I'm videotaping it and giving it to you. You can watch it in middle of the night. You can watch it when you're eating your cereal for breakfast, whatever it may be at your convenience. You can listen to this lecture. So as I just mentioned, the short videos are delivered and they're reviewed in advance. You may watch it 3 times. I don't think you will want to, but you may choose to do so if that's what you want to do, and review some of the information in it. As I mentioned, class time devoted to exercise and discussions. Feel like utilizing this precious time in which we have together to have fun. So materials for the course. There'll be a notebook that's being given to you, so something that I'll give to you with all the class dates and the times and everything. The lessons in which we have for those days. I'll also give you all the PowerPoint notes in which I have, and there'll be other supplemental exercises in which you'll do in class and outside of class, and it'll all be there in your notebook. So make sure you bring this with you each time to class. A writing utensil. I encourage you to bring your own writing utensil, for which that'll definitely be needed. Also bring lighthearted and fun, but respectful. So as I mentioned, this is meant to be a fun course. It's very lighthearted. It's not intensive at all. We just ask that you come prepared and look to have fun in the course. And you may also, I know some of you may tweet, some of you may Instagram and things, and that is perfectly fine. I'd ask if you do that, that you use the hashtag AGP leadership and things. But as I mentioned, there are a lot of times you may be called up to the whiteboard, be working things out. You may be in discussions. You may be, discussing through some scenarios, and can create some very fun and some very fun moments for us all. So kind of moving away from the course and some of the expectations and the outline and some of that more mundane things, but moving on to what is self-awareness. And in the first class we'll be talking about self-awareness, about you and what does that mean for you, and additionally into strengths and developing your awareness of your strengths and things. So what self-awareness? This is very sort of general definition, but it says to understand your personality, character, strengths, weaknesses, thoughts, beliefs, motivations, and emotions. It also allows you to understand others and how they perceive you. So this is very important. I don't think true growth as an individual can take place if you don't know who you are as a person. And something about that is that you have to continually question that of yourself and working to understand that and continually find what works, what doesn't work, what do you believe, why do you believe it, what it motivates you into doing what you want to do and achieving the levels of success that you want to achieve and things. So this course will help to do that as we ask all these questions, and that you're forced to kind of internally evaluate yourself and spend time with it. I don't think students spend enough time in this course sort of asks you to do that. So why is it important? For one reason, increase your awareness of your desires, your goals, your surrounding and your environments. If you're continually looking at yourself and questioning what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to accomplish, and seeing how you can potentially get there, understanding what those goals are that you have of yourself and what you're trying to achieve, and looking as to what the pathway is to to accomplish that. And then just as well as, your surroundings, your environment, the things in which you're choosing to engage in, the people who you're choosing to invite into your life, and those sorts of things, and evaluating that. It's also kind of to deepen your understanding of your positions. And what I mean by positions, that's more of like your beliefs, your understanding of things, what you choose to side with, and um, and with this is, understanding why you believe in those things, why you have that position on a certain sort of issue and things, and being able to take in information from the other side, filter it out for what it is, and then decide for yourself through research of your own what it is that you believe and don't believe. And by doing this, it will only deepen and affirm your positions and those sorts of things. Also, it's to intensify your focus with your academics. So if you understand what it is that you do well, what you like, and what you want to pursue, that you can be more intentional with the things in which you are choosing to participate in that are taking up your time, and thus giving you more purpose, which is the point. A large point in this is making your high school experience as purposeful as we can. And then lastly, the more in which you internally evaluate yourself, the more in which you are helping you to understand and critique you as a person, and to be honest with yourself. I think that is very important. That's a lot of people take time in developing is being honest on what you do well, what you don't do well, what's within your scope and your abilities, and what is not, and when to receive help. And I think for a lot of students who enter into college, sort of fail to do that, and because of it, find themselves in very awkward positions with respect to their academics or their personal life or whatever it may be, but fail to understand their limitations and what they can do well and what they can't do well, and thus resulting in, um, you know, in things not going so well for them. So, well, that is the end of our presentation that we have for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to our first class, and really believe that we're going to have lots of fun in this group. So thank you so much, and have a good day.